Perhaps in these first days of Lent, it is important for us to ask ourselves, what is true worship? And the historical event of the Israel people, it gives us the answer, what is the true worship? When the people of Israel returned from Babylon exile, that was between 540 to 500 BC, they came back to their land. They came back to their city and their temple. As a way of worship, they used to fast, they used to observe Sabbath, they used to offer prayers and perform religious rituals. Outwardly, everything seemed very right, but something was missing. And what was this missing in these people of Israel? Their lips were very close to God, but their hearts were far from their brothers and sisters. They worshipped God in the temple, but outside the temple, they oppressed the weak. They fasted, but they did not feed the hungry. They prayed, but they did not comfort the suffering. They honored God with rituals, but they wounded him by their lack of love. And so what did God do to monitor this? Because he had said that I'm your God and you will be my people. So God spoke to them through his prophet Isaiah. And what did Isaiah say in the first reading? If you take away from your midst the yoke, the pointing of fingers, and speaking of wickedness, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then your light shall rise in the darkness. What was God telling the people of Israel? True worship is not only what happens in the temple, but it was happened in the heart. True worship is not only lifting our hands to God, but also extending hands to the poor. This is what our prophet Amos had told them before. Let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a never-flowing stream. Because when justice and love are present, our light rises in the darkness. What is this light? This is what we call the God's favor among the people. It is God's presence among the people. It is God himself living among his people. These words are meant for us today because we also pray, we also fast. We come to the church. Today, God asks each one of us, do we see your suffering brother? Do you hear the silent cry of the poor? Do you recognize the one who is lonely and rejected or who dead? In his apostolic exhortation, Pope Leo XIV, Dilexite, Pope Leo reminds us who are the poor. He says that the poor, they are not only those who lack the material things, but also those who lack love, those who lack dignity, acceptance, freedom, and hope. The poor are closer to us than we think. Sometimes they live next to us. Sometimes they live with us. Sometimes they live within us. In today's gospel, Jesus reminds us how to attend to the poor. He has attended to the sinners, the Levi. These are the people, the tax collectors. These are the people who have been excluded from the society. They don't receive any love. But that is where Jesus is going to meet them. Why is Jesus doing this? Because they needed him. Because they were poor in spirit. Because his heart is drawn to those who are suffering. He reminds us that true worship is not separating ourselves from sinners, but bringing love to them. Perhaps the greatest tragedy is not that the poor exist, but do we see them? Perhaps we pass by them every day, but our hearts remain closed. St. Augustine, in his reflection, day-to-day reflections of today, he reminds us the two kinds of love. And the love that he talks about is one, the love of God, and the love of the world. The love of the world closes the heart, but the love of God opens the heart. It allows us to see others, not as strangers, but as brothers and sisters. This Lenten season, God is not asking only for our fasting. He is asking for our hearts. He is asking us to remove the yoke, to stop judging, to stop ignoring, and to start loving. Because when we lift the poor, God lifts us. When we bring light to others, our light rises. And when we love others, we discover that God was waiting for us in them. May the good Lord open our eyes, soften our hearts, and give us the grace of true worship in this Lenten season. Amen.